Been nominated by President Trump to serve as ambassador, assistant secretary of state, and chief of protocol of the United States of America. She's also a host of the Monica Crowley podcast, along with senior economic advisor to the Trump campaign and Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder Steve Moore.
Today, we're diving headfirst into hard-hitting, no-nonsense conservative truth bombs about the Trump administration's mission to slash reckless government spending and undo Democrat damage. In this clip, we've got Monica Crowley, the soon-to-be ambassador and former Trump administration official, alongside Steve Moore, a senior economic advisor. Both are armed and ready to call out Democrats' fiscal insanity while laying out how Trump plans to fix the bloated government. We'll break down Biden's hypocrisy and spending spree, the abuse of telework by federal workers, and the Democrats' last-ditch efforts to hamstring Trump's incoming administration. Expect sharp takes, bold critiques, and a relentless focus on the numbers.
I just hope that you come equipped with a chainsaw, and you too will be cutting some of the leftover unspent money.
Now, in terms of government spending, yes, it's going to be quite an uphill battle for all of us going into this administration, because regardless of our position, our mission is to rein in government.
Monica hits the nail on the head, reining in reckless government spending in the battlefield. And Trump is coming with a fiscal chainsaw. The Biden administration has burned through cash like it's monopoly money, but guess what? Trump's not playing games anymore.
And I will certainly be representing the United States in all of our diplomatic engagements. But the overall narrative of President Trump is to restore America through peace through strength, but also to restore America's fiscal responsibility and to get our fiscal house in order. And so government spending is going to need to be slashed, which is why he's got incredible people like Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Russ Vought over at OMB, who's actually going to take the recommendations of the DOJ committee and put it into practice.
Look, President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, that administration is spending money as fast as it possibly can. They just believe in more government, more of the time, and they just decide to drain the piggy bank and give it out as fast as they possibly can.
The patriotisms are for America, and boy, do we need that, an appreciation of the greatness of America, which we haven't had for 4 years. But Jason, you are spot on. It's almost like, okay, I lost the election, the Democrats are saying in the White House, so we're just going to burn down the village. I mean, we have the most massive overspending problem.
Steve's not sugarcoating anything here. Democrats are throwing a tantrum with taxpayer dollars. They have turned the budget into a bonfire because they know their time is up. This is exactly why voters rejected their reckless policies.
This was one of the major issues why the Democrats lost the election. And you're right, guys, that they are just spending it as quickly as they can possibly pass out the money, and more so than even was allocated. $100 billion at a time when we're running a $2 trillion deficit. I think that is insane. I think it's absurd. And I think the first thing, are you ready for this, Monica? As soon as you guys get in, is rescind this money and send it back to the taxpayers.
Monica, one of the things that they're doing is the administration is allowing and putting in contracts and deals with unions so that these government workers don't have to come back to work. They can continue to do telework. And they're doing it by the tens of thousands.
Yeah, you know, the incoming Trump administration telegraphed this, that there were millions of federal workers who, as sort of a holdover from the COVID era, were still working at home and perhaps coming into the federal buildings maybe 2-3 days a week. But there are these huge federal buildings in Washington, D.C., and they are like ghost towns. There's nobody in them. And yet the taxpayers are paying to heat, cool, and light those buildings. So Elon and Vivek and President Trump and J.D. Vance, they've all said, look, if you're going to get a taxpayer-funded paycheck, we are demanding that you are coming into work 5 days a week.
The audacity of Biden's administration to let federal workers telecommute indefinitely is jaw-dropping. Imagine getting D.C. paychecks while lounging in Mississippi or playing golf on the clock. Crowley's right. Trump's going to clean house. Now, I'm not opposed to telework at all, but I think there's a limitation as to how much you telecommute based on your job description and the expectations. So if you are going to be a federal employee working from home, like what are the standards and expectations that employees are being held to make sure they're actually completing their job? And also, why are federal government buildings left unempty, yet we're paying for maintenance on these buildings? It just doesn't make sense.
So what Biden and Harris have decided to do is try to do an end run around that and force these employees to allow these employees to get around that.
It is beyond clear Biden's policies are designed to cripple the incoming Trump administration. Why? Because they know Trump will expose every dime of waste and fraud. This is not governance, it's sabotage. Democrats will set up the new administration for failure and then turn around and blame Trump wherever they can.
By striking this deal, I hope that President Trump will be able to claw back a lot of this money that is being spent on day one. But I also hope that there will be a way to circumvent these last-minute orders coming from Joe Biden, because it is not right to hamstring an incoming president with these kinds of rules, especially one that was elected in a landslide mandate to demolish exactly this kind of business-as-usual stuff.
This is gross. This is the Federal Worker Union. Why in the hell do they have a union or need a union, Steve? They get to keep teleworking until 2029. And during a 3-month period last year, only 7% of Social Security Administration employees actually went into the office. 7%. See wages, but living in Mississippi or South Carolina, somewhere with low costs, because that's a problem at the Commerce Department.
Yeah, and by the way, let's not forget that the Social Security Administration is running a massive multi-trillion-dollar deficit, and that we got employees who are basically playing tennis or golf in the middle of the afternoon.
Let's call it what it is, robbery. We have Social Security going bankrupt, and the people supposed to fix it are too busy working their second jobs. If this isn't proof of systemic abuse, what is? We need to start treating the government like a business. There are consequences for actions in the workplace or lack thereof. This is not a free-for-all.
And by the way, some of these employees we found out are actually working a second job, Jason. So they're actually pulling down 2 paychecks. They're not working in the federal offices. And incidentally, if you go into the federal offices around Washington, D.C., you're going to see that 2/3 of the offices are completely empty. Yeah. So my idea is just clear out those offices. If they're not working, why not just sell those office buildings and let's make some money?
It is high time to liquidate these empty federal offices and put that cash back into the economy. The government's real estate empire is just another example of unnecessary spending. Trump's team sees the inefficiency and is ready to act. From empty federal office space to federal employees telecommuting with who knows what level of accountability, irresponsible government spending, and accountability unknown, what do you think? Is government spending need to be reined in? Comment below.